Angelika Artyunova is Armenian who was born and raised in Uzbekistan. Her work and activism experience in Uzbekistan includes coaching debate to high schools and university students in her hometown of Samarkand, interning with the commercial service of the United States Embassy in Uzbekistan, and volunteering with non-governmental local women's organizations to improve reproductive health and rights of women. Angelika also served on the board of the Emerging Practitioners in Philanthropy (APIP) in the US and is also active in the Armenian diaspora in the United States.
A message to the movement of feminists in Georgia who I respect so much, and the history that is there, and the activism that it has happened, and the resilience that the feminist movement in Georgia has demonstrated time and time again over the past 20 years, just being around and watching how many times there was an attempt to bulldozer any attempt for resistance or alternative thinking, alternative organizing, and time again you rise and you do everything that you wanted to do. And the level of analysis and the level of the deep understanding of the cultural roots and desire to also critique some of it but not reject all of it is really fascinating to me.
The Association for Women's Rights and Development, AWID, is an international feminist membership organization committed to achieving gender equality, sustainable development, and women's human rights.
We have membership from all around the world of individuals and organizations. And to become a AWID member, you just basically sign up. You say that you're a women's rights activist or a women's organization, and you become a member. You would subscribe to our newsletters, and we have a lot of information that we distribute. That's one of the things that we do. AWID is sort of a hub for women's rights resources that we then distribute across the world. Our newsletter comes out in 3 languages, English, French, and Spanish.
Members come from more than 156 countries of the world, with a majority based in the Global South and Central and Eastern Europe. A third of memberships are young women. A dynamic network of women and men around the world, AWID members are researchers, academics, students, educators, activists, business people, policymakers, development practitioners, funders, and more.
One of the things that was born out of the young feminist activism work and our work on tracking the funding trends is the realization that there is really little resources that go to young feminist organizing. So AWID came together with another organization, a women's fund called Central American Women's Fund in Nicaragua, and we have created a new fund. It's called the Young Feminist Fund. I shouldn't be saying new anymore because FRIDA, the Young Feminist Fund, almost has been around for 5 years. This is going to be their 5th year anniversary, and they had 3 grant cycles already and have mobilized over $300,000 to young activist groups in at least 27 countries. And so that is also our contribution to try to support not only the young feminist organizing, but also mobilize the resources for it and then bring the resources into the hands of young feminists themselves.
I want to celebrate all women, lesbians.
AWID's Executive Director Lydia Alpizar-Duran's speech at the opening session of the 59th Commission on the Status of Women. Lydia is a Costa Rican Mexican feminist activist based in Sao Paulo, Brazil. She is currently on the board of directors for the Global Fund for Women. Lydia has extensive experience in advocacy and training on women's human rights, particularly in sexual rights and reproductive rights, financing gender equality and women's rights organizations, and violence against women.
Increasing power of religious fundamentalisms across regions and across religions, and the violence they exercise over women and communities. The threats posed by other non-state actors, such as growing criminal networks and the increasing power by transnational corporations over lands and territories, deepening conflicts and militarization, and the widespread gender-based violence in conflict and non-conflict situations.
religious freedom.
AWID's work is built on feminist values independently from any political party, government or religious institution. Religious fundamentalists are on the rise around the world and across religions, with negative consequences for women's rights. AWID launched the initiative in 2007 to strengthen the responses of women's rights activists to this growing phenomenon.
Because there's not that much information that's been available before on how the religious fundamentalisms are affecting women and girls and women's rights. And then by doing that knowledge production and research, we then take that knowledge to the advocacy spaces and try to advocate for better rights for women and girls within the religious communities, and not to have religious fundamentalisms cutting down the rights that we have gained over the past years.
AWID's Young Feminist Activism program was created to make sure the voices of young women are heard and reflected in feminist activism and discourse.
There is really little coordination and communication happens between the young feminist activism and the women's rights movement, the gender women's rights movement. And a lot of the young activists are saying that they are not being heard or recognized or have enough space to actually be part of the movement beyond just being assistants or supporters to the activists who have been in the movement for quite some time.
Recognizing that financial resources are often necessary to make change happen and that many women's rights organizations are significantly underfunded, AWID launched the initiative in 2005 to increase the amount and quality of funding for women's rights work.
So when we're talking about effective organizing and what women's rights movement has achieved over the past 20 years, we cannot disconnect it from the funding that we have not been really receiving. So all of the achievements that we have made over the past 20 years are almost miracles, because they have been done mostly on the volunteer work and on the work of the organizations that are way underfunded and the movement that is consistently struggling for financing. At the same time, we have to say that funding is not the only resource that women's rights movement has, and the fact that we have achieved some of the progress is because the movement is resilient and it's effective and it's doing a lot of the work that is happening on different levels. And that's what's important to note about the women's rights organizing, that as AWID we have been analyzing over the years, that it happens on different levels. It's from the grassroots to national to regional to international levels and all across. And that's why we're also advocating that the funding needs to respond to that level of organizing and happening in different levels.
AWID Network holds a forum every 3 and 4 years, and next forum will be organized in May 5-8, 2016 in Brazil. Network tries to gather its members periodically and give them a space and opportunity to better analyze situations in the region and identify crossing points among them.
We are also looking at AWID, and towards the next forum is around the framework of feminism rather than women versus not, and how the approach to organizing can happen from the feminist perspective. That is more important than necessarily saying, is it women's rights or human rights approach, and what does it mean to organize from the feminist perspective.